Welcome back to the channel. This is Honest Adonis 2. Michael Jordan single-handedly transformed the Bulls franchise that functioned like a small market team and helped elevate a shoe brand that had a less than 20% market share in the basketball economy into a globally recognized brand, all at the age of 22 years old. Wasn't that the year that LeBron went to the finals? It sure was. That's why that age is important. Before I continue, let's get a few questions from the peanut gallery.
So when I make the statement that no one gives a fuck about the number 2 rings, it's not my opinion. That's history. It's shown. Right? Are y'all respecting Scottie Pippen for 6 rings like you do Michael Jordan? Are y'all respecting Scottie Pippen for 6 rings like you do Michael Jordan? No. So when you say Scottie Pippen at 32, if you take away his rings, did he have a better career than Allen Iverson? Allen Iverson got 4 scoring titles, an MVP. No. If you go in this order, MVP first, give it the most points. Second, scoring titles. Third, first team All-NBA, because that's top 5. Defensive player of the year. Second team All-NBA. If you go like that across the board, you will get Jordan, LeBron, Kareem. That's how it would look. Then answer this. 1993, a man by the name of Michael Jordan has 3 rings. He was ranked the best player ever. He jumped Magic Johnson, who was number 1 before that, in front of... So Magic has 5 rings. Kareem has 6 rings at this time. If rings matter, how did the guy who has the least
Rings don't matter.
become number 1? How did the guy who has the least
Rings don't matter.
become number 1?
Rings don't matter.
I'm just asking a question.
First question, are people respecting Scottie Pippen's rings the way they respect Jordan's rings? Well, why would they? You're the help. Everyone likes OG Anunoby, whatever his name is, but nobody respects his ring more than Jalen Brunson's. That's the finals MVP. You're the help. You're on the team. You get credit. You're helping. You don't get more credit than the finals MVP. He's the most valuable player of the finals. I know you're not going to stop trying to rewrite that, especially for the sake of Jordan, because that's where your hate lies, with the winner. So while we respect Scottie Pippen, you're the help. You're a part of the Jordanaires. Sidebar, if we look at this article from basketballnetwork.net, the title reads, "We didn't even think about Scottie Pippen. Bill Laimbeer admits the Detroit Pistons never respected the Chicago Bulls besides MJ. Bill said the bad boys never paid attention to what Scottie or Horace could do." That's interesting because the narrative today is totally different from what I remember back then. Let's read on. According to Bad Boys legend Bill Laimbeer, they have always viewed Chicago as Jordan and a bunch of journeymen. Even though Scottie Pippen was also an emerging superstar at the time, Lambs pointed out, and that's Laimbeer for short, that they only respected Mike's game and nothing else. Quote, "Anybody but him, he was not going to beat us." Talking about Michael Jordan. The 4-time NBA All-Star said on Bad Boys 30 for 30 in 2014. I actually rented that on YouTube, and I think you can still watch it right now. And I enjoyed that thoroughly. But getting back to the article, he says, that was the Jordan rules. We didn't even think about Scottie Pippen. It was Michael Jordan and the Jordanaires. And you can't win championships like that with only one player. But keep in mind, I've been hearing from the little birdies tweeting that everybody back then was plumbers. But then also I'm hearing that they retooled that talking point to say the elite people were elite. The all-stars, they were elite, but everybody else aside from them were plumbers. Nice of you guys 8-9 years after that narrative came out to refine it, to really tell us exactly what you meant by it. Let's continue. Bill Laimbeer labeled you guys Michael Jordan and the Jordanaires. You can Google that. Pippen was not even a separate entity. I'm not saying that because I felt that. I'm telling you what the competition felt like. That's always a big talking point. Oh, the competition is this. This is what Jordan's competition said. They didn't even respect you guys enough to call you by your individual names. So the question being, do people respect Scottie Pippen's rings the same way they respect Michael Jordan's rings? No, and they don't because you were considered a Jordanaire. fair. Your main competition, the Detroit Pistons, they beat you year after year after year. Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen. You sucked, Scottie Pippen, Horace Grant, even Phil Jackson as a coach. None of those guys were talked about. Michael Jordan and the Jordanairs, not this Bulls team, is so fantastic. Period. They're trying to rewrite it and act like it's something else, but this is the guys that played against them. They're saying that. Not me, not you. Why would I listen to what you say? You don't play basketball. You didn't play against Jordan. Why would you listen to what I say? I didn't play basketball. I didn't play against Jordan. I'm telling you what the guys who played against him, who got back-to-back chips, who were a dynasty based on your narrative of going to the finals with, what was it, 3 times within 5 years? That would be considered a dynasty to these guys. Point blank, period. Stop acting like that's not true. This is what one of the greatest teams ever, one of the greatest teams in the 80s, definitely. That's what somebody on that team said. That's how we felt about them. We didn't care what Philip, Pippen, Horace, none of them. It was Michael Jordan and the Jordanairs. So how can we respect Scottie's rings the same way we respect Jordan's rings? We can't. We don't. You want us to, but that's for your own separate agenda. Let's go to the next question. How does a guy with the least amount of rings become number one? That's the thing. He didn't have the least. You only said 2 people. You said Magic, Kareem. Kareem has 6. Magic has 5. Larry Bird has 3. Isaiah Thomas has 2, and Michael Jordan stopped him from getting his 3rd. He could have potentially been a three-peat. That's another thing. None of those guys I mentioned, Kareem, Magic, Bird, or Isaiah, won 3 rings in a row. The last person to win 3 rings in a row was way back in the 50s and 60s with Bill Russell and that team of Hall of Famers and top 75ers. Michael Jordan and the Jordanairs is not a team full of top 75ers. It's one who came in the league damn near like LeBron James, a top 75er when he came in. Damn near like Wemby, a top 75er when he came in. Damn near like Magic, Kareem, Bird. These guys was top 75ers when they came in. Damn near just because of the impact they had on the game. Damn near. And one guy who was considered a Jordanaire. So no, 91, 92, 93, 87, 88, 89, Scottie Pippen was not considered a top 75er or even a Hall of Famer. But at the same time, we have to give Scottie Pippen some credit because he's with Michael Jordan, who's been putting in work since his rookie season. Name all the basketball players who didn't go to the finals as a rookie, didn't go to the playoffs as a rookie. Name all the basketball players who didn't go to the finals in their second year, who didn't go to the playoffs in their second year. Name all the basketball players who got knocked out of the first, second, or third round in their 3rd year of basketball. Then tell me, what did their help look like? You can't exclude Jordan. You gotta say everybody. That's first and foremost. So when they're calling this guy, like Gil says he's got the least amount of rings, he also has the most amount of accomplishments. Like I said, he took a franchise that was functioning like a small market team, a shoe brand that had less than 20% market share in the global economy, in the basketball economy, later for the global economy, because they didn't even go global like that until they signed Jordan. Don't believe me? You can just Google the facts. In fact, you shouldn't believe me because Google is free. You should Google it. You should do your own research. I'm showing you here. This is what Google showed me. But Google could be lying to me for the sake of your argument. It's telling me a lie. I didn't word it right. So you find the wording on your own. All of those considerations, plus his 3 rings, plus the fact he won a ring, an All-Star MVP, a Finals MVP, a scoring title. He was All-NBA first team, All-Defense first team. At that time, in 40, 50 years of basketball, 60 years of basketball, however long it had been, since the 40s until the 80s and 90s, nobody had done that. All in the same season. Let me reiterate. Won a ring, scoring title, All-NBA first team, All-Defensive first team, Finals MVP. All of those accolades in 1 year. Oh yeah, and I just remembered regular season MVP. So the most valuable player of the league to boot. Michael Jordan actually did that 4 times. 91 and 92, when he first did that, to go along with, I won 3 rings in a row. Nobody has done that since Bill Russell. That was 25 years ago. And also in 91, 92, 93, when they said he's the greatest we ever saw. I'm talking to Gil with this one. Nobody had won MVP and Defensive Player of the Year in the same season. So all these things we haven't seen anybody do since basketball started. This guy does all of these things in 1 year. He don't just have 3 rings. Steph Curry has 3 rings. If Steph Curry won all 3 of those rings in a row, we'd be having a different conversation, which is why I believe Draymond Green sabotaged the whole situation. That's a different video altogether. But winning the 3 in a row, because it's so hard to get to the finals 1 year, so it's even harder to get to the finals the next year. Look at OKC. Everybody knew they was going to win, got knocked off. That's difficult to win back-to-backs. It's even more difficult to win 3 in a row. Before Michael Jordan and the Jordaires, the last team to do that was Bill Russell and the Celtics. Bill Russell playing alongside John Havlicek. John Havlicek did not win 3 rings in a row without Bill Russell. He had Red Auerbach. That's a different conversation altogether. So I hope that answers it. I tried to be as thorough as possible. That's why Michael Jordan was looked at as the GOAT, because in '93, the world of basketball hadn't seen that. We hadn't seen the dude one guy win all of these accolades and win 3 rings in a row. Win all of these accolades and win 3 rings in a row and turn an expansion team. For all intents and purposes, the Bulls, if you're not the original 9 teams, your team is an expansion team. Think about that. The Bulls, you can Google this too, they got expanded in 1966. They're an expansion team. So he got all these accolades in the same season, won a ring, finals MVP, and he took this franchise that was operating like it's a small market team into this nationwide powerhouse. And he took this shoe brand that was hoping to get $1 million over the course of 3 years into a $126 million shoe in the first year. Nobody had seen that. That stuff is passé today. In 1984, it hadn't happened before. That's just the reality of it. That's my take. I'm sticking to it. Stay tuned for the next video and I'll tell you why I did it like this.